Blessed peace and abundance to you all. Melanated Queen Balance here. I am in nature. Let me tell you, I'm in nature. I decided to come into nature to do some different type of videos. So today will not be a mukbang, but it's story time, and I'm excited to be able to share my story with you all. Excuse me if I'm flying. It's so many insects flying around and buzzing in my ear and stuff. So I will do the best that I can. But oh my gosh, I should have brought some little sage smoke out here to smoke it out, but I did not do that, which is okay. I will learn to bring it in the future because it is necessary. And these ones here is necessary. How I manifested it and didn't know that I manifested some things. So I want to start out by making a disclaimer and just letting you all know that what I speak about is solely my experience. Whatever you can take away from it, please take it and apply it how you see fit to apply it to yourself. But I just want to share this story to help some people because I get, men and women, kings and queens all the time coming to me asking me about how, I've managed to do a lot of the things that I've done, how I've accomplished. I'm actually manifesting even now as we speak because there's some things that needs to happen that are manifesting now, but I'm willing it to myself and my family. So, but without further ado, I want to go back into time in the past, where city of Milwaukee. And in the inner city is just a lot of chaos, a lot of toxicity within the inner city. And I was tired. I was at the point in my existence where I was tired of the circle of not getting anywhere. I was tired of struggling. I was tired of not having peace. I was tired of having failed friendships and failed relationships with family, friends. I just needed to get away from the inner city. So what did I do? My job, and which was a very stressful job to begin with. I left that job and I decided to move to the outskirts of Milwaukee. I moved to a whole different county where it was farmland, woods. I moved like at least 25 to 30 miles away from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, like from Milwaukee. I was still in Wisconsin, but I just moved to another county. And I remember during that time and that season, I was fed up with how my existence, how life was going at that time, how I was experiencing different things, and it was just uncomfortable. I couldn't, it was like it was so much noise around me, so much commotion, so much toxicity, and so much negativity. I'm like, I'm gone. So I moved me and my children to a whole different county, much quieter. It was a much quieter place. Wisconsin in general is segregated, and a lot of relatives question, why are you moving this far? I can't get to you. That was the point. That was the ideal. I do not need you all to get to me. I'd rather be by myself and help myself and have peace in the process. So, but the area of which I moved was predominantly Caucasian or white area. And that's what my family and my relatives did not like about the situation, because they're like, if something happened, how will we protect you? Do not worry about me. That's what I told them. Do not worry about me. I'm okay. Me and these babies, we're okay. So fast forward, we moved in 2009 to the summer of 2009. We moved to this town, a little town. I can't even, my journey and the process of looking within myself. And as I began to look within myself, I started to just like kind of reprogram, I started to reprogram myself. So there were a lot of instances where I took the time to look within myself about things that I was carrying around with me from past mistakes, past experiences that did not serve me and was not serving me in that moment in time. And when I started to look within myself about mistakes and things like that, and to be able to acknowledge that, okay, one, of course, I made mistakes. I made many mistakes. Who hasn't made mistakes? I used to beat myself up about mistakes, past mistakes that I made, instead of looking at those mistakes as learning opportunities to better myself and to grow and evolve beautifully. And so once I moved out here, now where I moved was in an environment where, and excuse me if I'm all over the place, because it's not like, I just knew what I wanted to talk about. I didn't put it in order. I'm just giving it as I can, remember. I'm going down memory lane in my mind, of course. But so the environment, first of all, I want to just kind of expound on just a moment. The environment definitely was quiet. There was not any city noise, sirens and drama, people arguing and all that. It was none of that. It was quiet. It was peaceful. Pin drop. That's how peaceful it was when I initially moved out to this area. Did get stares because the whole time that I was there, which was almost a total of 4 years, when I was there, wow, nature is beautiful. When I was there for almost a total of 4 years, I only seen about maybe 5, maybe 4 people that were melanated or of color, that resided out there. Or not even everybody that I saw or seen. Actually, everybody that I seen out there did not even stay out there. But I'll never forget that there was this man, a king, melanated brother, who I was walking, me and my children, I was exercising, and I'm walking with the stroller, and I'm just doing my thing, and he was driving, and he saw me, and he put his shades down to make sure that he wasn't seeing things, or his eyes wasn't playing tricks on him. And when he saw me, he just started waving like, hey, how you doing? And I say that to say that's how of melanated descent was there in that particular area. So either way, out there, and I had the feeling to move out there, but I moved out there because I needed to get away. Now, through this process, at one point my grandmother, my beautiful grandmother, Queen, offered to get my 2 younger daughters for a month. And when she offered to do that, I'm like, okay, because it was, I had a lot going on and just trying to figure things out as I go. But she offered to get them because I had never had a break. Until this day, I've never taken an actual vacation, which is her name, Queen. But basically, she, since I've been in the working field, since I've had children, since I've been an adult and working and things like that, I never took a vacation. I've never taken a vacation ever. So, which I will be definitely soon, because it's past due, it's way overdue. Under but overdue. Anyway, she got the children. I dropped them off. She's in a whole nother state, mind you. She's in a whole nother state. She's not even in Wisconsin. Going down memory lane, I didn't think it was going to be a challenge because I get emotional, because I'm grateful. I have great gratitude for all of the assistance that I have. Once I got back, do self-care for myself. I started to do self-care. So self-care meaning the taking the time to really just groom myself, take care of my physical body, take care of my Christianity. And I was in church during this phase of my journey. And I just knew that I was tired. I knew that I was tired. So during this time, I was tired of the same program. I was tired of the same, like I was just fed up with going from, job to job, experiencing the same type of treatment. I was tired of struggling. I was tired of the up and down roller coaster. I was tired of not having a stable financial freedom. I was tired of not having the experiences that I chose for myself and my children. I was tired of doing that. So during this time, I actually started to look at myself. So I actually literally sat down. I literally sat down and I started to, the things that I had buried, things that I just, put in the back of my mind. I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to deal with it. I began to let those unlock. I unlocked what I had locked up, and I started to bring it to the forefront. I started to bring it to the forefront. I told y'all, when something touches me, tears start. And I'm not even trying to, but I have to share this story because I know that this will help someone. So I had to bring it to the forefront, and I had to start to think about past experiences that I held on to. I had to think about past hurts. I had to think about past disappointments. I had to think about people that I may have hurt and people who expressed that I hurt through actions that were not even intentional towards them. And I had to sit with those experiences and deal with them one at a time. And I had to come to the conclusion that I made those mistakes. People that I've hurt, that, and especially who they expressed that I hurt them, I went back and I apologized in that time. I apologized to them, asked for forgiveness. It wasn't intentional and things were good, but I had to sit down and just think about my past experiences. Where is all of my actions and my thought process and things like that? Where did these things come from, and how are they affecting me, or why are they affecting me at this point in time in my existence? And I had to go back to my childhood. I had to reach back to my childhood. I had to go back and remember some things that I had experienced and had gone through. I had to go back to those past hurts and deal with those issues. How do you deal with past hurts? How do you deal with things that were not in your control that you experienced? And one of the things that I came to the conclusion and realization of is I went through that experience, and yes, I was hurt through it. But the beautiful thing about it is I went through that experience for a reason. And now that I have acknowledged that I've went through this, I've acknowledged, past mistakes, and that I am imperfect, and that it was a learning process, and that, I forgive myself for holding on to these things. You can remember something. You can remember your past, but you do not apply that. The hurt and all of the things that came along with that experience, you have to let that part of it go. The only reason that I say to remember it is because you can remember what you went through. So in the future, going forward, if you come across something like that, you can remember what that experience felt like, and you can remember that, okay, when I went through this experience, I handled it this way, but now that, I'm coming across it, now I know how to handle it even better than I did the time before. That's why I'm saying remember it, but never apply it. Never apply it to yourself. Forgive yourself for making past mistakes, but mistakes at the same time. Like, the reason I'm saying all of this is because I see a lot of us make the mistake of beating ourselves up until we are in a low frequency, a low vibration. We beat ourselves up about past mistakes, and we replay these past mistakes in our mind to the point that, or even if you were affected, and even if you went through something, and where someone hurt you, and you just keep playing that situation out in your mind of how you were hurt, what that person said, what that person did, how they offended you, how they affected you, how they hurt you. And this could be a span of 10, 20 years ago, and you still are affected by it today, to the point of being moved by tears, being moved by, because this happened, I feel like this is why I'm in the situation that I'm in. I feel like this is why I'm going through what I'm going through. I feel like this is why. We have to stop doing that. We have to free ourselves. You do not have to stay. You do not have to stay in that type of frequency and being held hostage of your past. I was even married to someone who still to this day, and I'm divorced now, but who still, all the conversation is about is past. Nothing very much, I'll say out of 100%, maybe 4%, maybe 5% of the conversation has to do with the present time or the present tense or the present moment. But 95% of what this person talks about talks about things that does not have to do with today. And that was a cycle or a pattern that I had going on in my past, where I was not dealing with the present moment. My mind always wandered back to past hurt, past disappointments, past experience. And what made it even worse is that if there was something else that happened that was hurtful experience happened, I would just add that on to the past and align all of those instances up from past to somebody who just hurt me, and I would just add it all up and just keep replaying it in my mind, to the point of crying, to the point of depression, to the point of, worthy to receive beautiful things, to not feeling worthy or feeling like I can move forward, to the point of feeling like, okay, I can't move on because this happened to me. I can't move on because that happened to me. I can't move forward because I'm so depressed and I'm so down and out because my past and what's going on and why do these things keep happening, when the whole time I was drawing these things to myself. That's what I know now, which I wish I knew back then. But I was drawing these experiences to myself, and I didn't know that at the time. And I kind of digress. I do apologize. But, I just have to, whoever I'm helping, I'm grateful for whoever I'm assisting in sharing this story. So moving forward, once my grandmother got my children, went back home, and I began to, for days now, I was not working at this time, none of that. I was just focusing on me. I cleared out all of my cabinets of junk, cleared out all of my cabinets. Now this is a process that helped me. I cleared all the junk out and I began to get healthy stuff. I have a sweet tooth. And the sweet tooth kind of comes from my grandmother, but then it comes from me too. But basically, crunchy candy bars and all this stuff, and just fattening and unhealthy products that I had in my cabinets. So as I was saying, I had a sweet tooth, and I liked all the candy bars and things like that. So basically what I did was I took all of that stuff out, and I remember replacing the sweet stuff with just kettle corn. I bought a case of kettle corn and put that in my refrigerator, or not in my refrigerator, but in my cabinets. I put all healthy snacks, and I read the labels, I read the ingredients and all of that to know what I was purchasing before I purchased it, to help myself, and to watch how my calorie intake and things like that. So I changed what I was eating. I started to exercise every single day. In the beginning, I started to walk on my treadmill 2 hours because I had to build my momentum up. It took about a week. So I would walk every day for 2 hours on the treadmill. So 2 hours, I would walk 2 miles. So it was 1 mile took me 2 hours or 1 mile took 1 hour to walk. So to get to 2 miles, I would walk 2 hours every single day. Then after doing that for about a week, I realized that I was able to speed up my momentum. And so it went from doing the 2 hours, 2 miles, 2 hours, to my way up to doing 2 miles in 32 minutes. So when I realized that, okay, I can walk 2 miles in 32 minutes. Okay, so if I was walking 2 hours, I can walk, an hour and 2 minutes, or an hour and 4 minutes, and that would give me 4 miles. So I started in this process now on my journey, I was part of the manifestation process that I went through. I started to walk 2 miles in the AM and 2 miles in the PM. So I would get up at like 4:30 AM, get on the treadmill immediately. Like I'll eat something like a Nutri-Grain bar or something like that, give me some water, and I would get on the treadmill and I would walk. So I would do the 32 minutes in the AM, and then before I go to bed, I would do the 32 minutes. I walk 2 miles in the AM, 4:30 to 5, or 5, or 4:30 to 5:02. I would walk that, 2 miles, and then before I go to bed, I would walk the 2 miles. So I started walking. It totals 4 miles per day, and I put myself on a 1,200 calorie intake. So I don't want to say diet, but I would not exceed 1,200 calories in a day. And I would drink a gallon of water a day. I would drink distilled water or pH balanced water or purified water, depending on how it was purified. Preferably the reverse osmosis. So once I started to do that, I started to exercise, I started to eat healthier, and then I started to mentally cleanse and started removing programs. Now, I promise you, back in 2008, 2009, I knew nothing of Ralph Smart. I knew nothing of the process that I was doing. I just knew that I was doing what felt right to me. I didn't even know that that's what I was doing. Then it got to the point where I started to look at myself in the mirror. And I started to speak things that I wanted to see. I started to speak and feel what I chose to see as far as my adjustments I wanted to see take place in my existence, for myself and my children, because I just knew I was tired of going through the same things. I wanted a different experience. I wanted a greater experience. I wanted a beautiful experience. And so I started to, speak these things to myself. I would look myself in the mirror. I would tell myself how beautiful I am. I would tell myself how brilliant I am, how smart you are, how beautiful you are, how awesome you are. And you can have anything that you choose and your heart desires. It's not that you can't have it, you can have it. And I just started to speak these things. And during that time, I did pray. And one thing that is so true that Ralph Smart said in a recent post on Instagram is when you pray, you're really praying to your higher self. That is so true. Now, what I wanted to share with you all is, and I will say these are facts as well. These are facts. These are the facts. I know that was corny, but basically, I stopped doing that and I was consistent in it. I know there was about 4 days, maybe 3 days, 3 days, something like that, where I actually day and night and day, I dedicated days to manifesting what I desired to see and have for myself. When I tell you, those days, I cried, I prayed, I confirmed, I affirmed, I did what I needed to do that I felt necessary, and I allowed myself to feel what it was that I was choosing to will to myself. And again, I did not know that I was willing anything to myself. I just knew that something had to break. I had to have a breakthrough in order to be able to, experience something different. And so after that, I started to see little things start to happen. For example, I was not working, but all of my bills were paid. I was able to purchase things that were needed for my children. Like, we did not have a care or a want in this world. Like, we did not need for anything. We had everything that we needed and things that we wanted. I'll never forget, started just coming to me. Finances. I'm talking about $5,000 here, $20,000 there, $10,000 here, $500 there. Like, money just started to come to me. And I was not working. I was not employed at this moment in time. I was not employed, I promise. Now, I started to see these things, and then I realized the problems that we have or that we consider to be problems, we make them so big and we magnify them as if they're huge when they are this small. And so what I started to do is I would see a situation that was not favorable to what I chose to see. So I would see it in my mind and I would visualize it where it was in that moment. It's going like this right now, but it changes and it positions itself to my favor and what I choose to see as a result come out of this situation. And then I would let that thought go. I promise you, I did that and things would just work out. Before I know it, I'm like, oh, it worked out. Oh, it just started coming to me like clockwork, just clockwork, where I would visualize if it was something that was not working in my favor, I would visualize what it was that was not working in my favor and then visualize it working in my favor. And then after I did that and put my intention and my feeling into it, then I let it go. I promise you, when you do that and how to do it. Okay. I got to go back a little bit because I want to get this. I'm going to do some other videos just to kind of recap on some of the things that I'm sharing even now. You must be honest. You have to be honest with yourself. You know, it's so many out here that feel like they have the need to lie or be truth. This is what I say. They tell truthful lies and they are very dishonest with themselves. When you are dishonest with yourself, you are blocking yourself from being free. You are blocking yourself from getting the experiences that you choose. You see other people being blessed with things and having beautiful experiences, and you're wondering why you can't have the experiences that you desire to have. Is because you're blocking yourself. You're blocking yourself. You are being stubborn with how you look at things. You're being closed-minded instead of open-minded. That does not work for that. You cannot. One cannot free themselves by being a truthful liar, by being closed-minded instead of open-minded, and being dishonest with themselves in the process. You have to get to the point, and it's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning, but once you start to see the results and which are yielded from you doing this and being honest with yourself and going within, that's the key, y'all. We have to start going within ourselves and dealing with the things that have been holding us hostage for many years that we didn't even realize was holding us back. Some of us have been our own worst enemies, and we have been, deflecting our energy on others instead of reflecting on ourselves to see how to help ourselves out of a situation or how to help ourselves in a process and out into our journey of greatness. We have to look at ourselves. So you got to do the reverse. You got to reverse it instead of looking at others and pointing the finger at others. Because my school teacher always told me in high school, Miss Williams, she always said, when you point the finger, you're pointing one finger, but you have these three fingers pointing back at yourself. You have to look at yourself. That is the key to freeing yourself. That's the key to financial freedom. That is the key to mental stability. That is the key to unlocking the doors of being free from this illusion that has been set as a trap to keep us in bondage. We have to free ourselves. And if you want to free yourself, you got to go through the process. But I'm going to tell you, even though I didn't like the fact that I had to go through the process, I was willing to do whatever it took to change my situation. I was willing to do whatever it took to make the necessary adjustments to get me and my children in a better environment and a better experience in this realm, a better just to grow. And I'm doing that even now. It's not a process where you could just do it and stop. This is a process that needs to be continued. But I promise you, you'll be balanced through this whole process. You'll be balanced if you can learn how to be honest with yourself. If it takes you to cry and release things that you've held on to that have hurt you, it's freeing. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. But have in your mind, when you're going through this process, what adjustments you need to see take place, what changes you need to see take place, and what you need to do. Things will just start coming to you on how to handle situations and things. So going back, like I said, finances were coming to me. Like me and my children, we did not want for anything. It got so to the point, like I was able to purchase 2 vehicles for myself and my children. And people saw me not going to work every day. Our neighbors, I was in an apartment building. The neighbors, like, you're not going to work? Like, how is this happening? Then, I was this size that I am right now, maybe a little bit heavier during that time because I had just had my daughter. I had my third oldest daughter, and people were asking me, like, what are you doing? How are you paying your bills? How are you doing this? How are you doing that? How are you doing all of this? They were trying to figure it out, but it was none of their business how I knew how I was doing it. It didn't matter. I didn't share how I was doing things. I was even able to assist a family who didn't have enough money around Christmas time to buy their children any type of toys or anything. And I assisted them, and I felt good being able to give. And I planted a seed during that time. I planted many seeds because I do it never to expect anything from that person or individual back. When I give, I know that the universe is going to bless me with that back times 1,000, because of the fact that my heart is in the right place and my intentions are pure. I'm doing this with a pure heart, pure intentions. So therefore, I know that I'm going to get it back. They don't have to give me anything. What they give couldn't even amount to what the universe is able to manifest and provide back to me. So being able to, in this process, be a giver, planting beautiful seeds, never to expect anything back. You're freeing yourself, and you're willing beautiful things towards you. Let me also tell you this. During that time, so all bills were paid, money just flowing, had everything. I was even able to pay my rent up for months at a time. And I had no worries. I was free. I just felt really, really great. And I was vibrating at a higher pace. I was vibrating high. I pulled myself out of a lower frequency and brought myself to a higher frequency. And I want to say that it's the greatest thing that you can ever experience. If you've never experienced it, I promise you, these steps that I'm giving will get you to that point. And I promise you, and you have to do it how you do it, though. Go through the process how you go through it. But I'm just sharing how I went through it to get to a point of manifesting whatever I so desired. I manifested these things. And I manifested not knowing that that's what I was doing. Self-care is very important. When you do self-care and you're consistent in it, you feel better. You're cleansing your energy. You're vibrating at a higher frequency. And what I know now from, experiences that happened thereafter, 2008, 2009, where I am now, like, okay, let me even go, because that's not even all the story, the whole story. So basically, I went all like 2008, 2009, mainly 2009, 2010. And then I started to apply. And I did all the shedding of energy that I was carrying around that from other hurts and things like that. And what happened was, again, I was in Christianity during this time. And I had a relative who I was attempting to help. But not everybody that you attempt to assist sees your assistance as assistance, or they don't see you, the help that you're looking to provide. They do not see it as, you providing assistance. In this instance, this particular relative decided to take my help as me trying to run them or tell them what to do or take what they owned. And I was simply trying to help. So there was a conversation that me and this relative had that went back and forth. And the things that this relative said hurt because I looked up to this person. This person assisted in my development from a child on up. And I know that what I when I do things, I do it from with a pure heart. I don't seek to do things to get recognition. I do not seek things to for somebody else to validate what I did or who I am. I do not need that. When I do something, I do it from the pureness and the kindness of my heart because that's the only way I know how to be. And I'm grateful for being who I am. And you need to learn how to be grateful. I would encourage you to be grateful for who you are. If you have a pure heart and you're kind, do not stop being kind and pure. Just be cautious and be wise in how you help and who you assist. You can't. I've learned that you can't just go around and just start helping any and everybody because everybody's not going to receive your assistance as assistance. It just does not work like that. Unfortunately, it's just not like that. And also, fortunately, you have those who, you're kind to, and they take your kindness for a weakness. They take your kindness for a weakness. They take people's, they see an opportunity. Those who are ungrateful and do not value the things that you're doing and the things that you're assisting with, they take it as a weakness instead of kindness, and to see how they can get over on you and things like that. So those are not the type of energies that you want to entertain. You just do, but you like, for example, I have entertained those energies, and I've learned from those energies that I entertain that I do not entertain that type of energy. You just do not do it because you want to make sure that the seeds that you're sowing is really, really there to assist someone. And as long as you're doing what you need to do, you're going to reap the benefits sooner or later. Now, by me having this exchange with this relative, I started to take on this person's energy. And what do you all think happened by me taking on this person's energy? I started to lower my frequency. And it was such a challenge because I was holding on to people that did not serve me, and I didn't get that at the time. I was holding on to people that did not serve me, that did not mean me well, and that was taking their energy and just throwing it up on me. And I was taking it. I was not, returning it to sender. You have to protect yourself. Words are spells. When you learn how to spell in school, you got to spell words. That's literally you're learning how to cast spells. And during this time when I was did not know that I was taking on the spells that this person was casting upon me, and I did not return it, and I applied it to myself. So I picked up some more energy. I already had shed energy of others and forgave myself for taking on, these energies and carrying those energies around with me for so long. And so I started to get energy again, and I didn't know the proper way to dispose of that energy. I did not know how to handle that situation or situations. And I began to start carrying other people's energy around with me, to the point that I lowered my frequency. And instead of, allowing what I know now as the universal energy that was assisting me during that time, universal energy, I started to block myself by making decisions that were going against what I had already asked the universe for. And what do you think happened then? Everything that had been built up started to crumble. Long story short, I ended up losing my place. I ended up being homeless. Me and my children, we ended up being homeless for a period of time because I decided to take on a job that was not serving of me, that paid less than what I was, the funds that were coming to me to take care of myself and my family. Police department started to harass me. I mean, talking about coming on private property that they did not have jurisdiction on, and running my plates down to being pulled over. And when I asked the officer, why am I being pulled over? I don't know why you're being pulled over. I'm just pulling you over because another officer asked me to. I started to attract what I did not want, because I focused on a low frequency, and because that person hurt me that I looked up to, and because of that conversation, I decided to lower my frequency. That was the biggest mistake during that time that I could have made for myself. That was the biggest mistake that I could have made for myself. And I struggled from that point on for years. I struggled, and I kept up and down roller coaster, up and down. And I'm grateful to say that now that, like, I had to go, and I may share this experience that happened to me in my past. It's been about maybe 5, 4, maybe even 3 years ago or so. But I'm going to share that experience with you in another video. But, basically, we are the key to unlocking the door to what we choose to have for ourselves and our family. If you are a mother, if you are a father, and you're looking to figure out, where do I go from here? It starts with you looking at yourself. Go within. Stop looking at other people and saying, you did this to me, you did that to me, you did this, you hurt me, you said that to me. Stop giving power to that, because it does not serve you. It does not serve you. You cannot free yourself by blaming someone else for their actions. They chose to do that. They chose to say whatever they said. They chose to do whatever they did. That's them. That has absolutely something. You think it has something to do with you? It has absolutely nothing to do with you. You have to learn how to go within yourself. When we start to look and focus on ourselves and our own ability and what we're drawing to ourselves, we are the energy. We are the key that unlocks the door to our freedom. But we got to go within. When you go within, you'll never go without. I got this, I still don't know what channel that is, that I got that from, a beautiful queen who says that after every video, before every video ends, when she's in the process of ending a video, if you go within, you never go without. These are facts, people. These are facts, sisters and brothers, kings and queens. When you start to go within, you'll never lack for anything else. You'll never have to figure out how this bill is going to get paid, how that's going to happen. When you start to look within yourself, and you start to do self-care, and you start to pay attention to what you're putting in your body, because that also has a great impact on how we think, our thought process. If, for example, I do not eat meat by choice. I do not drink milk by choice. I stopped eating cow cheese again by choice, and I'm seeing the benefits. I'm having greater mental clarity. I'm drinking more, where at one point I was drinking less water, I'm drinking more water. At one point where I wasn't doing what I needed to do to make sure that, like, I wasn't paying attention, basically. I wasn't paying attention. We have to pay attention to ourselves. We have to pay attention to how our bodies feel. We have to pay attention to our thoughts. We have to pay attention to all of that. And it is not hard once you start the process of paying attention. It's very important. You'll catch the most important information by paying attention to your body, paying attention to signs. I'm willing that this video helps someone. I know that this is, a pretty extended video. This may be one video where I just edit it really well, or this may be a video where it's part 1, part 2. But I'm going to be doing more of these motivational videos. Eating every day is not for me. I just have to be honest, there's days where I'm fasting. There's days where I don't want to eat anything, because my body is telling me. I'm listening and paying attention to what my body is telling me for that moment, in that moment. And I have to honor what my body is telling me, because it's important for us to be in tune, not only with ourselves, but to be in tune with the universe, So I'm going to end the video here. Unlimited peace and abundance to you all, and I will see you all in the next video. I'll see you all in the next video. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.